Hello my friends, HM here. Last night Ukraine attacked Crimea again, but this time it was probably the biggest attack so far. 2 large warships have been destroyed reportedly, and also a Russian command center full of Russian officers, and also partially hit an airbase at Crimea, but let's talk about it. Now, this video I found on Reddit, and it's the best video I have. It shows Sevastopol, that's the main city in Crimea that houses the Russian fleet in the Black Sea, and also command center for that fleet. And I can count many explosions that hit the ground, so they hit their targets, and they're presumably Storm Shadow missiles. I'll present evidence that confirms that later on. And also I count 1 explosion in the air, a big explosion that probably was an intercepted Storm Shadow that didn't reach its target, but that was hit by Russian anti-aircraft missiles. Then I count several smaller explosions in the air that are self-destructing anti-aircraft missiles. They self-destruct in order not to cause damage when they fall back on the ground, so they detonate them up in the air if they don't hit their target. But let's play this video, and there's no sound on this video. 1 hit on the ground, 2nd hit here, 3rd hit here on the ground. And let's see what else we can see from it. It's 1.5 minutes. So 4th hit on the ground. A big hit in the air. I think that was an intercepted Storm Shadow in the air. Small explosion here. Big hit over here. That's self-destruct. These smalls in the air are self-destructing anti-aircraft missiles. We see more explosions coming out of the frame of this video. Big explosion here. Whether it was a grounded hit or whether it was intercepted in the air, we don't know. But anyway, this video is quite informative, and I don't think it violates any YouTube rules because we can't really see much. Definitely no identification of people in it. Now, this image here is reportedly a memo from the General Staff of Ukraine that says the defense forces of Ukraine successfully hit the large amphibious ships Yamal and Azov, the communication center, as well as several infrastructure facilities of the Russian Federation in the temporary occupied Sevastopol. So that was all the targets that were hit, quite a lot. Let's see some images of these targets. These are the 2 ships that reportedly have been hit, Yamal and Azov, and that Ukraine's army command say are destroyed, successfully hit. They were anchored up in Sevastopol harbor when they were hit. These are landing ships that are more than 100 meters long, big ships with a crew of about 70 people each, and they are used to transport military equipment and troops, and they can go all the way up to the shore and load off that equipment and troops onto the beach. Very important ships for Russia if they ever want to launch an amphibious assault on Ukraine. They are losing more of these ships, and Ukraine has been focusing on destroying exactly this kind of ships because they pose a danger to Ukraine. But let's see some more evidence here. I have a poster here that has been updated with the 2 new kills. The landing ships we are talking about that can be used for an amphibious landing on Ukraine by Russia are this Yamal here and Azov. They're right here. I'm pointing at them here. And the other ships here with fire on them are also destroyed ships by Ukraine previously. Now, how many landing ships do Russia have left in the Black Sea? They only have these landing ships left. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they have 6 landing ships left, and Ukraine have managed to destroy 7 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's more than half of their landing ship fleet that has been destroyed. They can basically not move troops in an amphibious assault anymore. Not enough to be successful in launching an amphibious assault on Ukraine anymore. So that's pretty important, and I'm sure that many of the other ships will be destroyed at some point later this year. But let's move on. Here I have some evidence that almost confirms that Storm Shadows was used and that those 2 new ships were destroyed. It's from the UK Defense Secretary Grant Snaps. He says Putin's continued illegal occupation of Ukraine is exacting a massive cost on the Russian Black Sea Fleet, which is now functionally inactive. Russia has sailed the Black Sea since 1783, but is now forced to constrain its fleet to port. And even there, Putin's ships are sinking. So he was commenting on this latest Ukraine attack on Crimea. So he say there are ships here in Sevastopol that are sinking right after this attack was set. So I think it's confirmation. They know they hit these ships and they hit them hard. So I thought that was interesting. And I found another tweet here on X platform. It says that Russians report that a well-disguised command post with more than 20 officers was allegedly hit in Sevastopol. The strike also hit the location of Russian Marines. That was the 2 ships that was hit. Russian telegram channels further claims that 3 Su-27 fighter aircrafts were damaged at the Belbek airfield. So these are the other targets that have been hit and that Russian telegram channels confirm have been hit. But I think it's important that 20 officers was allegedly hit in this command and communications center in Sevastopol. So a lot of important people could be dead in that strike. Let's move on. Now I have 2 more stories to tell that are not related to the attack on Sevastopol, but that I thought was interesting as well. This one is a tweet today that confirms that the refinery that I made a video about earlier today that was hit by Ukraine drones inside Russia in Samara. That refinery has now been shut down, so no longer producing diesel and gasoline and other fuel products. That's important. So it was successful. Now here's the last story that I found noteworthy. It is that a Russian missile strayed into Polish airspace and it flew there for 40 seconds or a couple of kilometers, and Poland said they could have shot it down. Then why didn't they shoot it down? But they just let it pass by, and then if it flew back into Ukraine and hit something. I think that Poland should definitely shoot down missiles that are flying in their airspace towards Ukraine. That's the least we can do. I don't think we are helping Ukraine enough. I don't think Europe is understanding how serious this war is and how aggressive Russia has become. Putin says that Russia doesn't have any borders. So apparently he doesn't recognize any borders. His philosophy is that if he can take it militarily, it's his, and it doesn't matter that there's a border. He just moves on. That's what they are saying. We should start listening to what that man is saying. Also, a few days ago, Russia announced that they would expand the Russian army by another 500,000 men. And I know that's a video that I made earlier that Russia is now using about 10% or 11% of their GDP on military spending. They are likely spending $240 billion this year in 2024. That's almost as much money as all of Europe combined are spending on military expenses. I think it's time for Europe to realize that we are at war with Russia. It's definitely coming, and we should double or triple our own military expenses to something like $500 or $700 billion, and then prepare for war with Russia because it's coming. They don't respect our borders anymore, and we should give all the aid we can to Ukraine so they can stop them. If Russia is stopped in Ukraine, then the war will not come to other parts of Europe. But anyway, that was my video. I hope you liked it. I'll make a lot more videos about this because it's the most important geopolitical problems currently in the world, and I'm going to report about it. Otherwise, there's only one thing to say. Have a great life in freedom and democracy. Goodbye.